Virgo, welcome to Yellow Card No Tarot with me. My name is Carole, and this is going to be a general reading for you for May 2026. And I hope you're all doing well. If you're new to my channel, please comment below and let me know that you found me. And if the reading resonated with you, I'd love to know. And if you're coming back for another reading, thank you for supporting me. And I'd love it if you could subscribe, because that would get my readings out to more people. So, this is a healing channel. If some of you are interested in personal reading, I do give personal readings, and you can go to my website, carolecares.com. And it's Carole with an E. And you can see that I have readings on there that I'm offering to you. And also, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and you can go to the page with Red Snake Medicine on it, and that's my shamanic business where I offer distant healings. And I offer also a 15-minute consultation that's free, and it's just a chance for us to chat and see if we're a good fit together for a shamanic healing. And if you've never had a shamanic healing before, I would encourage you to try it. It's incredible. So, yeah. But you're here for your reading today. So, oh yeah, and all the links to all that I just talked about, it'll be in your comment section and in the description box below. But I'm going to start off your reading today, and I'm going to be using the Curious Travels deck, and also going to be using Radiant Rider Waite to clarify. Today's reading, I sat down before I decided what I was going to do for May, and I heard the two words hollow bone. And I like to include a bit of shamanism in my readings when I can. And so there's a word underneath this card that actually the card's taken from the Shaman's Dream Oracle. And the word is teachability. And I thought, okay, that's an interesting concept. So one of the concepts that you do learn in shamanism is to become like hollow bone, right? Because it speaks about becoming a conduit or a vessel, like an empty hollow bone or an empty vessel for the spirit to come through to heal others, and also for personal healing. And so in order to become like hollow bone, we have to become empty of the notions of who we are. So we have to realize that who we think we are, and I'm going to say who the ego continues to tell us who we are, is not who we are. And so it's time, if you want to become teachable, you need to be able to get out of your own way. And it's kind of like checking the ego at the door. Ego, it's not about, getting rid of your ego, because you'll never get rid of your ego. It's a part of you. But it's to become in a position where you become teachable, and where you're open to messages that are coming through for you, so that you're in a position to receive rather than try to control everything with your mind. Because when we try to control everything with our mind, we are allowing our ego to be in charge, right? And so we're not that empty vessel, that conduit for the spirit to come through, because there is always healing to be done. Always. And so that'll be this hollow bone will be, excuse me, will be our theme. And I'm going to begin your reading. Excuse me. I often have to clear my throat during these readings, and it's not a good thing, but it comes up during those times. We're going to start off with, what belief or identity story are you holding on to that's blocking you right now? Right? So what's that identity story that you're telling yourself, Virgo, that's blocking you right now? And you have the Nine of Pentacles that you start off with. Next, it's going to be what pattern, mindset, or emotions need to be released or emptied out. And so this is going to be your unconscious, this next part. It's going to be your shadow. Because this pattern, this mindset, or these emotions that were created when you were younger are coming up, bubbling to the surface. And they're what's having the impact right here on what's happening with you right now, or this belief or this identity story. And so we need to get to the bottom of it, right? Where did this come from? And so what needs to be released here? One card. What pattern, mindset, or emotions need to be released for Virgo? Let's have one card. Not quite ready. Ooh, see how that came out? And it's sideways, the Seven of Cups. Okay, so that's going to be, like I said, from your childhood, from your adolescence. What's the message what's the message, the guidance, or the truth behind it that you've been resisting, right? And so it's our ego self that will resist this. It does not want you to get to the truth. It wants status quo, because if you get to the truth, well, guess what? There's some healing that needs to be done. So what is the message, the guidance, or the truth, right? That's behind all of this. What is your truth? What's your truth, Virgo, that's behind all of this? You have the Lover's card in reverse. And then finally, how can you begin to trust and allow in order to step into the hollow bone state right now? This is the advice from the tarot. And this is really going to focus on, okay, you have all this going on, but now let's focus on how can you begin to heal this, right? So how can you begin to trust and allow? How can you become teachable? And this healing journey is a process. And so it's just, you know, we're going to go small here, but it might be something that's really huge, huge for you. Oh, we have 3 cards here that wanted to come out. The Queen, the 2 of Swords in reverse, and the 7 of Wands. Interesting. All of those 3 came out for you. I think that I'm going to leave it at that. I might ask for one clarifier. Interesting that 3 of them flew out together. Okay, because this deck usually doesn't spit out 3. That's why I like using it a lot. Let's get some clarifiers for you. So 9 of Pentacles, couple cards. There's one card sitting up here all by itself. 9 of Swords here. I'm going to put it back in the deck, but you have a 9 of Swords. 9 of Swords talks about a memory. That's what I see it as, some kind of a memory that's coming up for you here. Huh. All right, well, we'll put it back in the deck. Remember that it's there. So a couple cards for the 9 of Pentacles to clarify. And when I picked up the deck, it was like, no, you need to look at this card here. There's one. And one more. You have the 2 of Wands in reverse and the Page of Swords underneath your 9 of Pentacles. 7 of Cups. A couple cards from my 7 of Cups. One more. Underneath the 7 of Cups, the Temperance card in reverse, and here's your 9 of Swords. Came out again, which I was, you know, you don't normally have that. To me, that tells me that you can't make this stuff up. It's right there. And this number 2 is your unconscious. It is your shadow. And so there's a memory in there. The Lover's card in reverse. And, you know, it's Tarot's way of saying that, yeah, that card was meant to sit there. Okay. The Lover's card, a couple cards to clarify that. Ooh. Okay, so you have the Death card in reverse and the 10 of Swords in reverse. Underneath the Lover's card, interesting combination. The Queen of Pentacles, the 2 of Swords, and the 7 of Wands. I'm going to look for one clarifier, and if it doesn't come out on my first time through, I'm going to assume that it's fine the way it is. So, do you have anything else that you want to say here for these 3 cards? Anything else to say? No. Okay. All right. So What belief or identity story are you holding on to that's blocking you right now, Virgo? You have the Nine of Pentacles here. She has a beautiful dress. So this card, when I look at this deck, it's like she has a beautiful dress. You know, it looks like it's her Sunday dress. It looks like she's just been to a little chapel behind there. She's going. Sun's out, beautiful day. You know, it's somebody that has, this is important to her. It's important that she dresses up and makes herself look good. And, you know, this is something that she does maybe every Sunday. But this is what is important to her. She knows. She's very self-aware, and this is what she's decided. Yes, my religion, my faith is very important to me. This is not a faith card or a religious card. It's just, I'm saying, because there's a chapel there. But it's somebody that knows that it's very, very important for her to take the time out each week and do this routine of hers, because, you know, that's who she is. So this card is about, you know, trying to decide what's important to you. And I think you're having some difficulties now. You're sitting here and you're really, I'm going to say you're stuck in this position where you're not sure what's important to you now. What's important to me? And I think that's what this whole reading is going to be about, deciding, because it's your first card here. What matters in my life? What do I want to start focusing on right now, right? And underneath it, you've got this Two of Wands. I think you're realizing, because the Two of Wands talks about, you know, it's at the beginning of the Wand suit. And the Wand suit is about going towards your purpose, your creative purpose, putting yourself first. And so I think you've been feeling for a while a nudge. That's what the Two of Wands is. It's a nudge, but it's in reverse. And so you've kind of been ignoring it, right? But what happens when you ignore it, and that, I'm going to say it's like an intuitive nudge. Intuition, intuitive nudge. It's quiet. I say nudge. It's not something that's screaming at you. It's not desperate. It's this very inner knowing, this quiet inner knowing that keeps popping up every once in a while. And I think of the whack-a-mole game, but it's a lot slower than the whack-a-mole game, and it comes up and it goes back down and it comes up. And so this is really you, you know that there's some kind of something coming up here. But you've been denying for the longest time that there is no new direction for you. It's like you don't even know what's important to you. You've been denying it for a long time. And then you get the Page of Swords. And that's an inner child. All my pages in my deck are inner children. You can have more than one inner child. Sun just kind of went down a bit. You can have more than one inner child. I know mainstream psychology likes to say we just have one. But I've been on my own healing journey intensively for the last 9 years, and I know that I have more than one inner child. And our inner children hold our memories, because this is about a memory here. We've established at the beginning. They hold our big emotions that are associated with those memories. They hold our trauma, essentially. This inner child, who's about 4, 5, 6 years old, is holding the sword, the single sword. And the single sword, Virgo, is about your truth. It's about your authenticity. It's about who you are. And you have this inner child that remembers, that knows who you really are. And you know, all of this is coming up with this new direction that's nudging you, and this inner child that's coming in to say, listen, I need healing. And that's how you get to know your inner child and what this truth is that it holds of yours. I have something that you need to know. I know your truth, but every time it tries to come up, it gets pushed down, right? And so that's what you're sitting with right now. That's kind of like the identity story that's blocking you, because when we don't know our truth, we can continue on to believe that certain things were like this, maybe in our childhood, when we don't know that, oh, there's some memory coming up here that I need to know. And so what pattern, mindset, or emotions need to be released around this? This is your unconscious. Like I said, this is your shadow. And you have the Seven of Cups here. It's interesting that this card almost looks like the snakes and ladder game, doesn't it? And a child here being very confused and not knowing which way to go, up or down, because it knows, if I take 2 steps ahead, I'm going to be knocked down 1. If you've ever played that game of snakes and ladders. And so this is a child that's quite confused. And I often see this card as a card of dissociation. When we're around people that try to confuse us when we're younger, I'm going to even say the word gaslight us and tell us different things. And then as a child, we're a sponge and we can get quite confused, and we don't have the mind to be able to decipher what's right and what's not, right? And so this almost is really referring back to what's going on with you right now. You're very, you can't focus on what's important to you right now. And that's because this is a pattern of yours from childhood, where you became dissociated when you were a child. That's where our dissociation kicks in, when we can't make decisions for ourselves. I was that person all my life where I could not make a decision. Whenever it came time for anything, it was just like, I can't make this decision. I can't do it for myself. And I tried to rely on different people to tell me what to do. And through my own healing, 9 years of intensive healing, I'm still like trying to make decisions for myself. And it's a hard one. And so when you were younger, I can see that you became dissociated. And what happens is when we become dissociated, and I think I need to explain it, is when you're younger, we're all in our bodies when we're really little. Around 4, 5, 6 years old, we're in our bodies until things happen to us. And as soon as things happen to us, like trauma, anything very hurtful, there's big emotions that are associated with it. We're not old enough to be able to handle what shame is. We don't know what grief is. We can't handle things like big, huge emotions, like fear and things like that, emotions like that. We can't handle those. And so our ego self, it's a protector part when we're younger. It'll take us out of our body and it'll put us up in our head, in our mind. And so it'll convince us that, that's what I'm going to make my decisions from, is my head. But that's your ego self. We need to go back in our bodies now, because right now you're not in your body. You're very confused, and that's how we started out. And we get really confused and dissociated when there is a memory coming up. And so what's underneath the Seven of Cups when you were younger about how you were dissociated, or why you were dissociated? Because we need some clarifiers on that. We have the Temperance card here. And the Temperance card is in reverse. And the Temperance card in an upright position speaks about this angel that's dipping its toe a little bit at a time into the water. Water is about our emotions. I'm going to say when you were younger, you tried to show some of your emotions. Certain emotions. Maybe you were told you were a crybaby when you showed your grief. Maybe when you showed your anger, you got told to put that away. You tried to show your emotions when you were younger, but they got denied. They were denied. So you grew up, feeling like you didn't matter because you weren't allowed to use your emotions. And then you've got some memory around it. You've got some trauma around what happened when you tried to use your emotions when you were younger. There's some trauma here. And so I think there's a memory around that in this is coming up right now. You have an inner child that needs healing, that holds who you were, right? Because when we start to express our emotions when we're younger, and we're told to put those away, but as a child, I expressed anger. And I learned that was a very dangerous emotion. Put that away. And so if I'm denied what I feel, then that is a denial of me. And so I feel like I don't matter. And so I have to go on and put these masks on instead. The ego self says, well, put these masks on instead, because you're not allowed to be that person. So pretend that you're not angry, or pretend that you're not a crybaby, that, because you're not allowed to use your grief. And it's okay to be emotional, but you put your mask on. You say, well, I can't be this certain person. So you've got memories around using your emotions when you were younger. And so what's the message, guidance, or truth behind all of this that you've been resisting? It'll be your ego self that has been blocking this. They're the ones that resist. That part is the one that resists things because it doesn't want you to get to your emotions. It wants to keep you up in your head, dissociated, in your mind, because it's a very scared part, and it doesn't like emotions. It's petrified of them. And so the Lover's card comes in here. Well, your Lover's card is in reverse, and I'm going to tell you about this card. It's very important. When I did deal it out, I went, that's a very interesting card to come out. So what's the message or guidance here? In an upright position, it's very important to know what this card means, because this is like a turning point for you. This card is a choice point. You have a choice right now. Like I said, right now it's in denial, and you're not aware of this. The Lover's card talks about these two elephants that are deeply, deeply entwined, right? Very vulnerable, intimate relationship between these two. And there's your third eye, right? This relationship creates this eye of wisdom, of knowing right there. So what is this relationship? What is it talking about here? This card, the Lover's card, talks about not two people, not two lovers. There's nobody here coming to save you. It talks about your own two parts that make up you. And the parts are your masculine part and your feminine part. And so right now you are deeply, this whole first part of your reading is about how you have your masculine part that's leading the show here. And that's your ego self. It is in control. I call it my controller. It's the one that will convince you that it's you. It does all your thinking for you, right? But there's also another side of you that's very important, because the ego self is not you. It's a part of you, but it's your higher self is the one that you need to get to here, that can make all these decisions. And your intuitive self. But how do you get to that intuitive self part, that higher self part? What's in your body? It's your knowing. This is your inner knowing, your body, right? That's your feminine side. And so right now, there's a real imbalance between those two parts. You're at a choice point here. You can keep going with this ego self. Maybe you've clicked off by now, because, when we talk, the ego doesn't like this talk. It doesn't want you to know that you have a body. That you have this body that you've forgotten, and you need to get grounded into your body, right? And so what's being clarified here? Well, you have this Death card coming here, which is very interesting. So it's in reverse, but the Death card comes in when it says there are things that you need to walk away from, or things you need to give up, and it's in denial here. And so what I think, like I said to you, walking away from your ego is not something you can do. But what you can do, and what the Death card is trying to say here, is that, it's time that you separate yourself, and your higher self becomes this observer and observes the ego part of you that wants to control the show. And when you can start seeing that and hearing it and going, wait a minute here, is that really me? Is that really me that's making these decisions? And then you can start to go, oh, no, that's my controller. That's my ego self. Because there's a real separation that needs to happen here. And because I think I gotta pull these two cards right here. So if there's like, if your ego self needs to kind of, like I said, it has to check in. You got to check it at the door, right? This is what this is saying. Check it at the door, because look what this ego self has done to you. Look at this Ten of Swords. And again, it's in reverse, because I really think you need to look at this. Swords are about your mental thoughts, your opinions that you have about yourself. And all those mental thoughts and all those opinions that you have about yourself and all those things that you continue to spin on is your ego self doing this to you. And that needs to stop as well. And that's the ego self that will continue. So when you hear things in your head and you just go, wait a minute here, do I really think that? Like if I hear things like, oh, I'm not, like, what are the things you believe? Oh, you're not allowed to get angry. Where does that come from? What do you mean? That's an emotion. Oh no, you can't touch this emotion. Our ego self's very scared part, doesn't like emotions. And so it's really time here that you start to recognize, what are these thoughts, these beliefs that keep spinning here that's not even me? Where do those thoughts come from? And so how can you begin to trust and allow in order to step into this hollow bone state right now, right? Because you're at a choice point here where you're being asked, listen, you've got this feminine side. You've also got this masculine side that's running the show. And so we need to go into this feminine side. I haven't even looked at what the guidance from the tarot is. Well, starts off with the Queen of Pentacles. Here's your feminine side. That's what you got to go to. And I was speaking too soon here. The Queen has the pentacle in her hand. The pentacle speaks about your body. She is so much in her body, this feminine side, the Queen. All her emotions, she directs everything in her life through the body, through her emotions. She's very grounded. The pentacle is the grounding element, right? It's it's the earth. It's our physical body. And she's in her physical body. And so the advice, or how can you begin, to trust and allow, you got to get back in your body. That's the choice point here. Your ego is running the show, but you've got to get back in your body. I think for a long time, this is the Two of Swords, and I like to see this as a bull, I think for a long time, you've convinced yourself, or your ego has convinced yourself, that you were done with emotions, done with healing, done with looking at any of this. There's memories here that you need to look at. That's what the two is. See that? It's somebody that's completely shut down, that does not want to deal with any of this right now. But you have to start dealing with this. You have to start looking at this. That's what wants you to say, wants you to look at. And the last card right here is the Seven of Wands. Probably my favorite card in the deck, right? This is this individual that decides, you know what? I'm going to be putting myself first now. I'm going to be taking my sword, Page of Swords, the one that holds your authenticity. That's who you are. I'm going to be taking that damn sword, and I'm going to go on my own little journey here. I'm going to put myself first. It can be a really lonely journey, going on this journey by yourself. But you're at a choice point here where you're like, you know what? He's scratching his head here. It's like, I want to figure out, what are these messages that are always coming to me? Who's saying all these things? I want to know who I am. I want to know what this memory is. I want to know why I don't feel that my body is a safe place to be. And you're going to have people that are going to come at you with these wands down here. And they're going to say, listen, who do you think you are going on this journey? What are you doing? Get down from your pedestal. There's going to be people that try to knock you down. It doesn't matter. You're going to get up again, because you're going to figure this out. You're going to go on your own little journey and figure out, you know what? I want to get into my body. I want to feel some of these emotions. And so I'm going to leave you with a playlist on how to get back in your body. It's on grounding. Take you in my backyard. It was done a few years ago, but if I made a video now, it'd be the same video. I tell you how to get back in your body. You got to sit with yourself And you got to learn what it means to be grounded, what it feels like to be grounded in your body, so that you know when you become ungrounded, right? Because you've spent a lot of your life ungrounded, probably most of all your life. And now you're thinking, well, I want to get grounded now. That's what's going to be important to me, right? She thinks going to the church on Sunday is important to her. That's what's important. What's important to you, right? To get grounded right now in your body so that you can get to know yourself. So I want you to have compassion for yourself, Virgo, for what you're working through. This is a very difficult journey, the healing journey, but it's the most important one. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.